Welcome to the Dawson Creek podcast. Not with our special guest, Ed Ma. Now on to the show. Can I steal some of that? Yeah, of course. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Good?
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the Not Dawson's Creek podcast, a show where we highlight and interview your regular yet extraordinary Dawson Creek citizens. Today we have the extraordinary pleasure of interviewing one of Dawson's most iconic business owners. Please welcome our guest.
Great, Brian.
Ed,
Ed.
nice to see you. How are you enjoying the warm weather?
I'm a warm weather fan.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Love it.
I also have another very important question to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Is it Dawson Creek or Dawson's Creek?
You know, over the course of the years, when I tell people where I'm from and I say Dawson Creek,
Yeah.
the first thing they say, oh, that TV show. And I say, no, I wish we lived on a Gulf Coast with a beach somewhere, but no, we're Dawson Creek, miles through the Alaska Highway, famous for our 40 below and 4 feet of snow every winter. Not to Dawson's Creek.
Very well put, very well put. So Ed, I was doing research before this just on you and Bings, which we'll talk about a little bit more, but I realized today, I think, is the exact day that was Bings' last day last year. Is that correct?
It is. June 30th, 5 o'clock is when I called it a day, officially retired. The store had been open for 54 years, started by my parents, Bing and Shirley Ma, and then they retired in 1980, and I came back in 1978 after I graduated University of Lethbridge.
Yeah.
So I put in 45 years running the store, and gives me an opportunity to say thank you for the people in this community that supported me through all those years.
Yes, and the flowers that support you as well. And so the people that support you in the community, it's obviously been quite a long while. Were you born and raised in Dawson?
I was.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
You can't tell by my Chinese accent?
No. No. And what year were you born, if you don't mind me asking? If you want to.
Oh,
say
that's
that.
no problem. I have no problem telling people my age.
Yeah.
Born Feb 22nd, 1955.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing the math, that makes me 39. Oh,
That's good math.
failed math. Yeah. Maybe 69. That's it, 69.
You do look 39, though, Ed. You look you look fantastic. But
Well, thank you very much, sir.
of course. And so when again did they start up Bing's Furniture Store? And if for anyone outside of our community, obviously a furniture store is pretty self-explanatory, but where was it located and all that sort of
The
stuff?
initial building or store was actually right beside us, where you see the Bank of Montreal now.
Oh, really?
It originally was the new Palace Hotel and Cafe. And my dad started it in one of the little corner stores, again, back in 1959. Our second evolution, we ended up moving to where Griffin Sports is. That was 2.0, you might as well say. Beside it, what used to be a company called Leach's Tire and Car Wash. And Dad eventually bought that building, knocked down the walls in between and expanded into that location and making it 2 stores into one. Some years ago, there was a fire inside what was originally Rip Renew. It was a little restaurant, a little bistro, and caught fire, whether in their kitchen or electrical, and it burned down that building and took down the other side. Which, again, to back up a little bit, when I moved out, the store was put back into 2 buildings, and that side was the a pawn shop.
Really?
So both those burnt down.
Wow.
And then we moved into here Halloween night of 1985.
And I believe this is one of your father's dream places to move in. Is that correct?
Very much so. My serviceman, Bill the Duke, he had been with my company for just about 50 years.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he passed away some years ago. Brain tumor took him very quickly. But he and my father were standing in the location across the street here in the new palace. And Bill recalls one wintry day, Dad looking out the window at the co-op and saying, boy, that would be sure nice to have a store like that one day.
Yeah.
And again, in the fall of '85, or more like the spring and summer, I started negotiations with, it was Field Store that was in it at the time, and I didn't realize yet it was a subsidiary of Zellers. So a little bit going back and forth, we ended up buying the building, but I didn't tell Dad until the deal was finalized. I didn't want to get him excited and then maybe have the deal fall through.
Right.
So when everything was signed, sealed, and delivered, I gave him a call and I said, I bought the co-op. And there was that 10, 15 seconds pregnant pause, and he says, you're kidding. I said, no. I said, we're having a grand opening this fall, and I want you and Mom and Dad to come up, or you and Mom to come up for it. And we did major renovations, gutted the interior, many things.
Right.
And I remember one of my contractors saying that your dad's coming in tomorrow morning for his first look-see. What's he gonna say? Like, wow, impressed, you know. And I said, after some thought, I said, his first words out of his mouth is gonna be, how much? And they all said, seriously? I said, seriously. So the next morning, and these contractors worked 24 hours that particular evening just to make sure everything was in place. And Dad walked in, stopped by the front doors. All the contractors were standing up. And Dad said, how much? Everybody
your dad so well.
just broke out laughing. And Dad's looking around like, inside joke? I said, I'll tell you later. But knowing my dad as I did, how much?
How much?
Was the perfect response from him.
Yeah, that's perfect. And so how did that feel to basically accomplish his dream and open up in this location?
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. When I first took the keys from the manager of Field Store, I sat down in front of my office there on the ground because it was basically the place was empty. And I thought, what have I done? Oh my God. Went from a store that was maybe 10,000 square feet to one that was just about 30,000 square feet. And sat there and thought, what have I done? But in hindsight, the best move I've ever made. It enabled us to scale of economies, grow with the city, and provide everything that they could want or need.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And of course, being a 39-year-old man, you were talking about when you were born. Can you talk about, or even just give us an insight into what Dawson was like back then and what has changed since then? Obviously, we have new buildings up and stuff, but how are things changed with the community?
Well, where we were sitting used to be just mud, gravel, potholes, and dirt. There used to be the Fall Fair parades, and I'd be sitting on top of the New Palace Hotel and Cafe watching it.
Really?
And it was just dirt and mud roads. Funny though, when I was growing up in this town, watching it grow, back in the 70s when I was still a kid here, it was actually a larger, more vibrant city, believe it or not.
Wow, really?
We had a population of about 13,500. We had vibrant farming communities in the area, whether it was Rolla, Tom's Lake, Bonanza, Baytree, Eris. Every quarter seemed to have a farm family on it. Friday nights were the night. People would come into town, the farmers would come into town with their families. Every building was open, every store was open, every restaurant was open. Friday night was an event in this town.
Really?
Fall Fair evenings back in the day, it'd be cordoned off like you see here.
Yeah.
And on every corner there'd be a low bed. Band would be playing, they'd be dancing in the streets.
Really? I did not know that.
It was an amazing time.
Wow.
You know, it was as a kid growing up, it was exciting.
Yeah.
It's sort of sad to see now when I look around
Mm-hmm.
where the Windsor Hotel is a vacant lot.
Yeah.
Where the Dawson Hotel was a vacant lot.
Right. Right.
Where Woolworths, Alaska Cafe, Alaska Restaurant, vacant lots. Night Riders burned down. The Sunlight Cafe was on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, all those buildings were buildings and all occupied, and again, a very, very vibrant community.
Wow. Wow. I didn't know that.
A little bit of history for you.
Yeah. No, that's incredible. And you were saying when these events were happening, like in this square roughly, was that, you said that was the 1970s or so?
That was all through my youth.
Oh, really?
The fall fair was as big a thing back then. And again, the downtown shut down and people everywhere.
Yeah.
Food booths, bands, dancing, music, everything was open. And back in the day, too, we had the drinking establishments, like I just mentioned.
Yeah.
You know, we had the Alaska, we had Night Riders, we had the Dawson, we had the Windsor. So there was lots of places as people were running around having a drink or two and being, partying it up.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so cool. That's so cool. And when did you notice that changing? Because that would be way before my time, because that just sounds extraordinary.
Well, you know, I don't have the exact dates, but when you sit down and see the Windsor Hotel was torn down,
Yeah.
the Dawson Hotel was torn down, Woolworths, which was Wildcat Video, burned down, the last cafe and hotel burned down,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and unfortunately they were never, obviously as you see, never rebuilt.
No, no, no.
So it's unfortunate our downtown is not as vibrant as it was when I was a kid.
No, no, no. No, that's so interesting. And Ryan will tell you this is an ongoing thing with our guests, but I keep asking about Kilkerran Hall, which was outside of town. Did you ever go to that hall?
Which hall are we talking about?
It's called Kilkerran Hall. It's like, I think, out towards...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, did you ever go to that?
Yeah, I used to be involved with the Mile Zero Cruisers, a car club,
Oh, yeah.
and they would have their, every year they'd have their opening spring barbecue out there.
Oh, wow, wow, wow.
But it's been a while since I've been out to that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and all those halls back in the day used to have dances. Again, large farming communities.
Yeah.
So you'd hear about dances in the Doe River Hall, Kilkerran Hall,
Mm-hmm.
the Besborough Hall, the Doe River Hall, Tom's Lake Hall.
Yeah.
You know, and now those are few and far between.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a shame, because I've heard so many stories about these dance halls, how wonderful they used to be and how lively it was. You never had a dull moment on the weekends here in Dawson, eh?
You know, back in those days, there was always something happening. Yeah, and again, never a dull moment. When you were growing up, there was always a weekend party.
Yeah.
At the gravel pit, at the bend, at Stonehenge. All these are nicknames for areas around here.
Yeah.
But if you were a kid growing up, you knew exactly where they were, and you knew someone that was going out there. So
Yeah, yeah. Wow, wow, wow.
yeah, I'm surprised most of us actually survived to our adulthood.
I think that could describe a lot of us going into adulthood, eh? And so you take control of Bing's and you move into this space, and you were here for a number of years. You were kind of like a cornerstone of not only the store, but of this downtown area, and a lot of people knew you, they knew the store. And with that, do you have any like favorite memories of or particular things that happened over the years, over your career?
Oh, really, I think there'd be too many,
Yeah.
to be perfectly honest.
Yeah,
Functions and events that happened in the store.
Mm-hmm.
Again, as a cornerstone, we're the first place that a lot of people stopped in to see and to check.
Yeah.
Again, I'm sorry, way too many to even try to remember.
No, that's a good sign.
No, very much so, very much so. You know, when I said earlier I retired June 30th, I'm actually semi-retired now.
Yeah.
March 1st I came back.
Mm-hmm.
The existing people that leased my store
Yeah.
were short-staffed.
Yeah.
And I heard about it through the grapevine, so I gave them a call and said, look, you know, I'll come back and help you out.
Mm-hmm.
I'll sell for you, I'll product train your staff, and I'll sales train your staff.
Right.
And I'll do it all for free.
Right.
And it was an offer he couldn't refuse. So I'm still here till the fall, and when I start traveling again, I'll be calling it quits. And
Yeah.
they asked if I would be coming back after my travels, and I said, depends, you know, how good a time I have and where my head is. But
Right.
it's been a pleasure coming back and helping out when I retired, no one came to my house saying, "Hey, how you doing, Ed?"
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as I came back, people are coming in in droves saying, "Hey, good to see you. How you been?" kind of thing. So this is also was a big portion of my social life.
What was the decision like to retire, and where did that start? Did that start like, I'm going to end by this date, or I'm going to do this, or was it just kind of like, I think it's the time?
The decision to retire has been sort of ongoing for some years.
Yeah.
But the opportunity arose when a gentleman named Ankush from Fort St. John, Ashland Furniture, approached me and said he'd be interested in leasing the building.
Oh, okay.
At which time that basically gave me the out. It's a pretty big building to just walk away from and sit empty.
Mm-hmm.
The city taxes are huge,
Yeah.
so it's not something you can just shut down and say, well, there you go. The ongoing taxing situation, and then maintenance, utilities, someone had to be in there to maintain the store and to pay the bills, obviously.
Right. Yeah, of course. And so with that, you also do work outside of the community. It's not just relegated to Bings. And
I've been involved in a couple of car clubs.
Yeah.
The Mauser Cruisers, Peace Country Cars and Coffee.
Yeah.
A few years ago, in a quiet time, taking care of my mom down south, I asked the question on Facebook, is there a hiking club in Dawson Creek?
Mm-hmm.
And the answers came back fast and furious that there was not. So I had a couple of friends who are avid outdoors people and said, if you start it, we'll help you.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the rise of North by Northeast hiking.
Wow.
The last time I checked, we have something like 1,300 members.
Wow.
Thank God not all of them go out hiking the same weekend. It'd be like an invasion.
The Rim Rocks would be very busy. That's crazy that there wasn't an existing hiking organization with the beautiful landscape we have.
There wasn't, and that actually surprised me. I had thought, okay, I'm going to be having more time on my hands, and I'd like to see more of the countryside.
Yeah.
And living and growing up here, you would think that everyone and their dog would be out to Tumbler Ridge, the Bay Tree Rim Rocks, anywhere and everywhere. But that's not the case if you don't know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
and having no experience.
Yeah.
You sit there and see tourists coming up to little cuddly bears going, oh, cute bear. Then you find the remains, a few days later.
Yeah, exactly. It happens a lot.
It does. So
it happens a lot.
Having people come in and say, we'll help you get this set up. We know the lay of the land. We have some experience on the trails, what to do when you're going hiking, what to do when you encounter wild animals, etc. So it's been a labor of love, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I've met some people that I know will be lifelong friendships.
And what else? What other activities do you do now that you're enjoying retirement? I mean, part-time with Ashland, but what other stuff do you get up to nowadays?
Well, I got involved in an organization last year that is looking to set up a splash park in the town.
Wow.
The city hasn't really announced much. We haven't got together again since last fall, but we're trying to get something established at the old site of the Centennial Swimming Pool.
Wow.
We thought that lot would be perfect. It's downtown, it's close, it's accessible, bus routes, close to schools, and I'm hoping that if the city's paying attention, that can happen. Rotary Lake shut down some years ago after an unfortunate incident.
Yeah.
And the locals have been begging for some sort of alternative. It seems that having a pool now is out of the question, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But if we can get a splash park built that accommodates young kids, young adults, the whole spectrum, it would be wonderful.
Yeah. No, and it would be. And so have you been talking about this for a little bit now?
Again, we struck a committee up, and we had quite a few meetings last fall, but since then we haven't heard anything back from the city.
Right.
So I'm just waiting to hear back from the organizers that we're back in gear and trying to get something going.
Right, yeah.
Here we are already end of June, and essentially it's another summer come and gone. There's no way anything can be done in the next ensuing months before winter and snow hits. So
No.
it's another year that, in my mind, has been wasted.
No.
I've got my daughters, but I've got 4 grandkids that I'd love to see something for them. You know, whether it's a small thing, but we have a small splash park out at Rotary Lake now. I'd like to see something a little more substantial downtown.
Yeah, of course. Are you always really, because just talking to you, I always get the sense that you're really community-minded when it comes to things. Is that a thing that you strive to be, very community-minded, helping out the community wherever you can?
This city has been good to our family.
Right.
My grandparents first showed up here in the early 40s, right after the Japanese invaded the Aleutian Islands,
Right.
up by Alaska. And then my dad came over in the late 1940s, just before Mao Zedong shut down the borders
Right.
and made communist China. So this town has supported my grandparents, my parents, myself,
Yeah.
my 2 daughters. One runs a business here in town called Rebel Beauty. The other one is the manager of the Fix.
Yeah.
And the community, again, has been very, very good to them too.
Yeah.
So trying to be community-minded is only a given.
Right.
Only a given.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And this is a hard question, but what's your favorite part of Dawson Creek?
It's the people.
Yeah.
You know, you can have buildings, you can have streets, you can have infrastructure, but it's the people that brings it all together.
Right.
Over the course of years, people that were dealing with my grandparents at the restaurant, my parents at Bing's Furniture.
Yeah.
Now I was dealing with their grandkids. You know, and having that sense of community. It's always nice too when you're able to greet someone at the door by saying, "Hey Grady, hey Ryan, how you doing?"
Right.
You know, you're not customer number 3468-2.
Right.
You know, over the course of the years, we've developed relationships that go way deeper than just customer and a business person.
Right.
Many of these people have become very, very good friends.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. That's great. And obviously we're sitting in the downtown core, so to speak, of Dawson, right near the Mile Zero post, and seeing all this history. Even though, you know, some buildings have been burned down, there's still so much history in this area and in this community. And Bing's has been a part of that as well. And with that, how important do you think it is to maintain our history here and maintain our culture and what we've done in this area? How important do you think it is to maintain that and keep it?
It's huge.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that we have that I'm quite proud of is our art gallery,
Yeah.
that grain elevator. When I was growing up, there was 6 or 8 of them
Yeah.
Along Alaska Avenue. You know, and seeing them torn down or burned down one at a time, it was sort of like history just fading in front of your eyes.
Right.
The Mile Zero post has been here for eons. It's sort of funny. We don't think of it as an iconic piece of our history, jumping up there and taking pictures, but every day tourists are jumping up there.
Yeah.
And there's been times they're standing on the intersection saying, let's take a picture. I'll say, no, give me your camera, give me your phones, climb up there.
Right.
If you're going to get a picture on it.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of history.
Yeah. Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is, as I said, over the course of time, losing some of our businesses. The Alaska Hotel, the Alaska Pub, the restaurant, was an integral part of our downtown core.
Yeah.
People will tell you that Wildcat Video, again, we used to be Wolvers.
Yeah.
We used to have a Bay in this town. We used to have an Eaton's in this town. You know, and those have all come and gone.
Yeah. Yeah. And for anyone that's outside of our community, what was the Alaska Hotel and what did it mean to Dawson Creek?
The Alaska Hotel was an iconic building that was last run by Charles and Heidi Clucks. Again, an old building, creek groaned, but character to the tens. You'd walk in there and see the photographs and see messages, and they used to have dollars pegged to the wall.
Really?
From all over the world.
Oh, wow.
So when it burned down, I'm not sure how much money actually burned with it.
Oh, no.
But it was, you know, a local watering hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Funny fact, it was my first time drinking
Really?
when I turned 18 years old.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
I'm sorry, 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And for nostalgia's sake, you threw down $1
Mm.
and you got 4 beer.
Wow.
Now you guys are thinking, what?
What a
You're
deal!
lying. Fact. They weren't, the big, huge glasses, but you still got 4 glasses of beer.
Wow.
So again, not to dwell on it, but cheap drunk. Cheap drunk.
Hey, that's all we're hoping for.
Yeah, I
That's all
wasn't a
we're
very
hoping
big guy back in the day, 140 pounds soaking wet, so $2 did the job.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Was it called the Dewdrop Inn at one point?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
That was, I think, the original name of it, and then over the course of time, it morphed into the Alaska Hotel, Alaska Cafe, and Alaska Pub.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
But a lot of character. I was actually driving to Edmonton when the news broke, and again, the miracles of cell phones. People were showing us pictures as we were driving, and I thought, well, it's just a little bit of smoke.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll get that under control in no time.
Yeah.
But that building being as old as it was and just wood and sawdust insulation, firefighters couldn't get a handle on it, and away it went. And the unfortunate thing now is you look over there, we have it as a mud hole.
Yeah.
And the same thing with when Wildcat Video went up, we have a mud hole.
Yeah.
I wish there could be something that the city could actually do to force these people to sit there and say, look, you got to do something with it. As a business person in town, I know there's a great demand for retail space.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that if they built it, the tenants would come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Tenants would come.
100%. Did you ever go to the Alaska Hotel? No, you
No.
would have been, because we were too young to go in, because we were.
That hotel burned down now 12, 15 years ago.
It was 2010.
So it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
a while.
Been a long time.
It's been a very long time. Just a shame. Because it was so beautiful, too. Just the way it looked. And you can
Yep.
still see the artwork on the side of Aubert there.
Yep. You would see tourists all the time parking in front of it taking pictures.
Yeah.
There used to be not bus tours, but motorcycle tours.
Really.
Guys coming up and spending the nights there in the rooms, and you see 10, 15, 20 bikes parked in front, and
Yeah.
very cool times.
Yeah.
Very cool times.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. And do you do like any art or anything like that?
You mean like
Any sort of art, painting?
talent? Like you couldn't give me 2 chopsticks and I couldn't drum a beat.
You're not a musician?
Hell no. Couldn't do a beat if you asked me to or paid me to. And my stick man, you'd probably go, is that a Japanese character or is that a stick man or what is that? Pretty bad. There are times that I wish that I was talented in some respects, but
Yeah.
musically, artistically, no.
No.
Big capital N.
But do you think art in this community is important?
All that is important.
Yeah.
Art, music. I don't know what's happening with the school programs now,
Yeah.
but it's unfortunate they don't have a music program,
Yeah.
an art program, a drama program. And again, some people feel this and may shoot me, but I find that when I graduated, I don't think I've used my algebra once, my trigonometry, physics, geometry, maybe my pool games, figuring out the angles, but
That's also important, though.
there's so much stuff that in the school district now that's being taught that in my mind is useless. There needs to be something, again, art, music, drama, life skills.
Yeah.
Kids coming out of school, what's a mortgage?
Exactly.
What's a lease?
Exactly.
To me, there's been a lot taught that is useless.
Yep.
Is useless.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to think that there are smart people in our school district.
Yeah.
And again, I know I get people calling me and going, what did you just call me? Dumb? No, I didn't do that.
No.
But
no.
there are things happening in our school district that need to be go back to maybe our historical times.
Yeah.
When again, drama was important, art was important, music was important.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we need to teach stuff that our kids can use day to day.
Yeah.
It's not getting any easier out there.
No, it's not.
And they need all the help they can get.
Absolutely. And We're probably on our way to finishing things up, but I wanted to ask you one final question that I've been asking of our guests so far, and that's if you could describe Dawson with one word, what would it be?
Beautiful. I just did a cruise the other night with my car club, and we cruised up Bear Mountain. We've done some cruises past Poos. We went and actually cruised to Bay Tree for ice cream. And when we stopped at Bay Tree, I said to the guys, we live in a beautiful country. And that's how I would describe it.
Yeah.
In chatting with some of the people I just met here, saying that it's actually one of the last bastions of affordable housing in this province.
Yeah.
He said, well, maybe you don't want to talk about that, then it could be a bad thing. I said, some of the bad things are already here. But for people that are out there trying to survive and make a living and actually have the hopes and dreams of owning a home, I'm sorry, right now if you said to me, "Great, let's go to Vancouver and let's buy a house," I'm sorry, I can't afford it.
No.
Let's go to the island, can't afford it. Let's go to the Okanagan, can't afford it. Dawson Creek, you can still afford to buy a home, have a life, raise a family, go on holidays, and not have both spouses busting their asses just to make a mortgage payment.
Yeah.
And then figure out how to pay utilities and put food on the table. It's a sad state of affairs that we're in right now, and I hope people actually will watch us and realize that there are places still in this province that you can actually own a nice home in a nice community and raise your kids fairly safely.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And then one final question. What was your favorite piece of furniture that you ever sold?
Oh, God. I still have it.
Really? What is it?
I bought a Lazy Boy leather recliner done in a saddle brown. I've owned that now for, 25, 30 years. It's still sitting in my family room.
Yeah.
When I'd come home and my kids were always home before me after school, I'd have to sit there and say, "Out. Daddy's home. Get out of my chair."
I feel like we've all been there.
And I still have it.
Oh, really?
It's in my family room, and when I need some quiet time, there's no TV in that room, there's no media at all. It's just sit down, put the feet up, the head back, and just think about the day.
That's what I do, but I just bring the chair to the mile zero post and I just sit down.
So sorry.
It's the pollen season. It's that time of year. I'm surprised my eyes haven't squinted shut yet.
Well, maybe we should end it before that happens. Ed, thank you so much for coming on. It was a blast, and really appreciate your time.
Ready, Ryan, a pleasure. I feel honored and flattered that you guys asked me to do this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you. Thanks for watching the Not Dawson's Creek podcast. Directed by Grady McTavish. Produced by Quentin Tootin and Grady McTavish. Directors of photography, Quentin Tootin and Ryan Leewood. That's me. Art director, Charlie McLean. Sound, Taylor Leewood. Camera operators, Charlie McLean, Magda Potemski, and Quentin Tootin. Production assistant, Tamsin Bond. Special thanks to Ed Ma, the City of Dawson Creek, the South Peace Historical Society, Charles Cox Cardos, the South Peace Historical Society Archives, and Ashland Furnitures. Bye-bye!